Here.
Trustee Armour,
Here.
Trustee Miller is absent. Madam President, we do have a quorum. Can we please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? Thank you all. I will now read the Pledge of Civility.
Ouch.
In the interest of civility, I pledge to promote civility by listening, being respectful of others, acknowledging that we are all striving to support and improve our community, and understanding that we each may have different ideas for achieving that objective. Now, can we please have a moment of silence? Thank you. Item 2, public comment. I have not received anything. Madam President, have you received anything?
I have not.
Okay, thank you. We'll go on to item 3, presentations. We have none. Item 4, communications. I have 2 short things real quickly. The 23rd annual breakfast honoring Dr. Martin Luther King will be held this year on Monday, January 20th, 2025 at 8:30 a.m. over at the Sheet Metal Workers Local 73 Hall, 4550 Roosevelt Road in Hillside. Next, Winter Blanket and Throw giveaway event for seniors only, 60 plus. There will be free coffee and donuts. This will happen Wednesday, January 15th from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. at Oak Street Health, located at 456 25th Avenue in Bellwood. The event details: join us to learn about Avid Health at Home, a community care provider offering in-home support services. For more information, you can contact the clerk's office. This concludes our communications for the evening. Next is item 5, consideration to approve the following minutes. Minutes from the December 2nd, 2024 regular board meeting.
Motion. Second.
It's been properly motioned by Trustee Chalmalave, seconded by Trustee Shelby. Madam President.
Thank you, Trustee Armour. You have any questions or comments about these minutes?
Mr. Clerk, did you get my updates about maybe 3 p.m.-ish?
If you sent them after 2 p.m. this
Regarding both-
afternoon, I have not received any updates. However,
Alright.
based on your comments stating that we approved this at a prior meeting, that was not the case. We approved November meetings, not this meeting.
This is the December 2nd meeting, right? Okay,
This
so if you
is.
turn to page 2, item 6, none of that should be on those minutes because that goes on the December 16th meeting, if I saw that correctly.
I'll review and correct as needed. What
Thank
else?
you. And then, okay, that's all I've got for that.
Thank you, Trustee.
Thank you. Trustee Shelby?
No questions.
Trustee Chalmalave? No questions. Trustee Abraham? No questions. Mr. Clerk?
Roll call. Trustee Abraham.
Yes.
Trustee Chalmalave. Trustee Senior is absent. Trustee Shelby.
Yes.
Trustee Armour.
Abstain.
And Trustee Miller is absent. Madam President, this carries 3-0. Can I have your vote, Madam President?
Yes.
Thank you for your yes vote. This carries 4-0. Next item, approval for the minutes from the December 16th, 2024 regular board meeting.
Motion to approve.
It's been properly motioned by Trustee Shelby, seconded by Trustee Chalmalave. Madam President.
Thank you, Trustee Armour. You have any questions or comments about December 16th minutes?
Yes, there is one item on these minutes, item 7, the comment. It was both trustees Miller and Armour who had questions versus what's noted there. So, and that's the only change I have to that.
Again, I'll review those changes and make them accordingly. Thank you, Trustee.
Is that it, Trustee Armour?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Trustee Shelby?
No questions.
Trustee Chalmalave? Trustee Abraham?
No questions.
Mr. Clerk?
Roll call. Trustee Abraham.
Yes.
Trustee Chalmalave. Trustee Senior is absent. Trustee Shelby?
Yes.
Trustee Armour?
Yes, with the changes.
Thank you. Trustee Miller is absent. Madam President, this carries 4-0. Thank you all. Next, item 6, consideration to approve expenditures, grand total of all funds, $353,822.43 for the period ending January 2nd, 2025.
Motion to approve.
It's been properly motioned by Trustee Abraham, seconded by Trustee Chamalave. Madam President?
Thank you. Trustee Shelby, the Finance Chairwoman, will you please read the warrant list?
Yes, Mayor. Okay, this is the warrant list of January the 2nd, 2025. The vendors are AT&T in the amount of $6,439.12. Blue Cross Blue Shield of Illinois, $141,175.29. ComEd in the amount of $3,772.48. Geno's Heating and Plumbing Incorporated in the amount of $77,936. H&H Electric Company in the amount of $14,465.29. Home Depot Credit Services in the amount of $6,033.68. LED Lighting Solutions in the amount of $28,185.43. Lincoln National Life Insurance Company in the amount of $6,259.06. Midwest 911 Incorporated in the amount of $3,649.90. Orlando Lawn Service in the amount of $5,370. Train US Incorporated in the amount of $13,667. And West Cook County Solid Waste Agency in the amount of $14,213.40. The total of expenditures over $2,500 came to $321,131.01, which is 91% of our total expenditures in the amount of $353,822.43. We had a manual payment. The vendor was Heritage Broadview LLC. The date, December the 16th, 2024, check number 87341 in the amount of $40,000. And we had another payment. The vendor was Proviso Township High School. Date of check, December the 16th, 2024, check number 87342 in the amount of $900. The total of the manual payments came to $40,900. We also had electronic payment, and the vendor was Chase Credit Card. The payments reflecting as of November the 25th, 2024, in the amount of $21,075.91. The following accounts were affected by these expenditures. We have the general fund account in the amount of $226,819.21. We have the garbage account in the amount of $14,213.40. The motor fuel tax fund account in the amount of $3,465.45. And we have the Roosevelt Road TIF Fund in the amount of $29,292.12, and the Capital Projects Fund in the amount of $45,469.90. And last, we have the Water and the Sewage Fund in the amount of $34,562.35. Again, for a grand total of $353,822.43. And Madam Mayor, that concludes my report.
Thank you, Trustee Shelby. Trustee Armour, you have any questions or comments about the warrant
None.
list? Trustee Shelby?
No.
Trustee Chamalave?
None.
Trustee Abraham?
None.
Mr. Clerk, can we get a roll call, please?
Yes, we can, Madam President. Trustee Abraham?
Yes.
Trustee Chamalave?
Yes.
Trustee Senior is absent. Trustee Shelby?
Yes.
Trustee Armour?
Yes.
Trustee Miller is absent. Madam President, this carries 4-0. Thank you all. Next, item 7, application for the authority to expend funds. We have none at this time. Moving on to item 8, committee reports, which are given at each first meeting of the month. starting with our Business License Committee, Trustee Armour.
I have no report other than what the Commissioner Upshaw is going to do when he, when we get to it on the agenda. So I don't have any report.
Thank
Right
you,
now.
Trustee. Next, Police and Fire Committee, Trustee Miller, who is absent. Does anyone have anything in her stead? No? No report. Next, Finance Committee, Trustee Shelby.
No, I have nothing to report unless Director Hood has anything, so no report.
Thank you, Trustee. Next, Building and Public Property, Trustee Chamalave.
No report.
Thank you, Trustee. Next is Water, Drainage, and Health, Trustee Senior, who is also absent. Does anyone have anything in her stead? Thank you, no report. And lastly, Street, Sidewalks, and Alleys, Trustee Abraham.
No report.
Thank you, Trustee. Next, item 9, Old Business, we have none. Bringing us to item 10, New Business. Item A, an ordinance amending Title 6, Chapter 1, Section 6-1-7, related to the qualifications and salary for the position of Deputy Chief of Police in the Village of Broadview, County of Cook, State of Illinois.
Motion to approve.
Second.
It's been properly motioned by Trustee Chamalave, seconded by Trustee Abraham. Madam President, open for discussion.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Chief Mills, will you tell us about this request?
Good evening, Mayor, trustees,
Good evening.
everyone in attendance. So, as the mayor has repeatedly asked, this department has to go over old ordinances and things that is already in existence. This was one that caught my attention. As you all are aware, I currently do not have a deputy chief, and I am looking at promoting at some point in the future. And when I looked at this ordinance, it was pretty much outdated. When I attended the International Association of Chiefs of Police conference in October, the big piece of info they shared was how departments are getting young, and for us to start looking at ways to put more emphasis and training and mentoring on our younger people versus the old cliche of police departments and you just had to work a million years to get to a position, and then a lot of times they would get the position and get whatever's required for a pension and just leave and didn't really put in work. So it kind of caught my attention, and so when I put up the old ordinance that's listed, only thing I wanted to change was that it says, back then, this was from 2011, was basically you had to have 5 full years of service here within the village, so I wanted to bring that down to 3. I don't think for a town of our size and things like that, and with the lateral movement of police officers all across the nation, even if we decided to do a search and go outside, it would be hard to have someone to come in and follow this ordinance and for us to hire. I'm not saying that's what I'm looking to do. I like to stay internal, but I thought this was pretty much outdated. And the same as the salary, I just wanted to change that piece of the salary to say what is currently in the line item of our budget that we prepare every year, so.
Okay. That's it, Chief Mills?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Trustee Armour, you have any questions
I
or comments?
don't, no.
Trustee Shelby?
No questions.
Trustee Chamalave?
None.
Trustee Abraham?
I just want to thank Chief for doing that, just so we can stay competitive as
Yes.
far as what we pay our employees and making sure they're taken care of, and they can have a retirement. And then also looking at that 3-year, when I saw you adjusted that, I thought that was a good idea. Just again, because we've been getting laterals and stuff like that
Yes.
from other departments. I think it's going to be very helpful to attract. That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you. So I will say this, as we move forward and we move the village forward, we've been real intentional on how we look at ordinances. And a lot of our ordinances are outdated, and it's thousands of policies that's on the books that's irrelevant to today. So as each department go through this, I think last year we probably changed 4 or 5 ordinances throughout the whole year. That's how intense it is when you're looking at ordinance change. And so as we continue to grow and move forward, we will continue to stay on that track where each department will be required to bring something before the board to amend, delete, or just get rid of, because it no longer serves us as a municipality on how we look at the future. So thank you for that, Chief Mills. Mr. Clerk, can we get a roll call, please?
Roll call, Trustee Abraham.
Yes.
Trustee Chamalave.
Yes.
Trustee Senior is absent. Trustee Shelby.
Yes.
Trustee Armour.
Yes.
Trustee Miller is absent. Madam President, this carries 4-0. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Next, item B, an ordinance amending Title I, Chapter 6, Section 1-6-3, related to regular village board meeting time and schedule in the Village of Broadview, County of Cook, State of Illinois.
Motion to approve.
Second.
It's been properly motioned by Trustee Abraham, seconded by Trustee Shelby. Madam President, open for discussion.
Thank you. So if you all recall at the last board meeting, we had a brief discussion as it relates to approving our annual calendar for board meetings and adjusting our schedule time from 7:30 to 6:30 p.m. I think this is something that we all can achieve by getting here a little bit earlier and letting our team that work hard every day be able to leave at a decent hour instead of staying the whole day and leaving sometimes at 9:30 or 10 o'clock at night. I just don't think that's fair and practical to a staff that works so hard for the Village of Broadview, where they have a family and they want to attend to some things. As you all know, a couple of years ago, we did amend our meeting schedule from going from 2 meetings a month to 1 meeting a month to have a summer schedule, and then during the winter months, January and February specifically, having 1 meeting a month in January and February because how the holidays fall. So this kind of ties into us having some consistency with our regular board meetings on how we move the village forward. So tonight was our first meeting for a 6:30 meeting. How'd you guys like it?
It's working
I
out
love
great.
it.
I made it.
So with that being said, Trustee Army, you have any questions or comments?
None.
Trustee Shelby?
No.
Trustee Chalmalabi?
None.
Trustee Abraham?
No questions.
Mr. Clerk?
Roll call, Trustee Abraham.
Yes.
Trustee Chamalave.
Yes.
Trustee Senior is absent. Trustee Shelby.
Yes.
Trustee Armour.
Yes.
Trustee Miller is absent. Madam President, this carries 4-0. Thank you all. Next, item C. The motion to establish a consent agenda to include the following items. Now, before I read all of these into the record, Madam President, were there any changes in the way we're going to handle this?
Well, we want to read them into the record and have discussion.
Got it. All right, so I'll
Thank
read
you.
these into the record, starting with item C1. Consideration of an application for a business license requested by Beauty by Design at 1805 West Roosevelt Road, number 5, to operate in the Village of Broadview, County of Cook, State of Illinois. Item C2, consideration of an application for a business license requested by Dahled by Dest at 1805 West Roosevelt Road, number 10, to operate in the Village of Broadview, County of Cook, State of Illinois. Item C3, consideration of an application for a business license requested by Everyday Girl, Inc. at 1805 West Roosevelt, number 1, to operate in the Village of Broadview, County of Cook, State of Illinois. Item C4, consideration of an application for a business license requested by Holistic Hands That Heal at 1725 West Roosevelt Road, Suite 10, to operate in the Village of Broadview, County of Cook, State of Illinois. Item C5, consideration of an application for a business license requested by Lemons Health and Beauty at 1725 West Roosevelt Road, Suite 8, to operate in the Village of Broadview, County of Cook, State of Illinois. Item C6, consideration of an application for a business license requested by Styled by N.E. at 1805 West Roosevelt Road, number 8, to operate in the Village of Broadview, County of Cook, State of Illinois. Item C7, consideration of an application for a business license requested by Tagged by Tassia at 1805 West Roosevelt Road, number 11, to operate in the Village of Broadview, County of Cook, State of Illinois. And that concludes the items in the consent agenda, Madam President.
I would like to make a motion to, well, I'll wait for questions.
Motion to,
We need a motion and a
motion
second
to
for
do a
discussion.
consent agenda, correct?
Yep.
Yes.
I make
Yep.
a motion that we have a consent agenda on these items.
We need a second.
I'll second.
Okay, thank you. It's been properly motioned by Trustee Abraham, seconded by Trustee Shelby, to establish a consent agenda to include all of the items read into the record. Madam President, open for discussion.
Thank you. Commissioner Upshaw, can you tell us about these businesses?
Yes, so these businesses will be located at 1805 West Roosevelt Road, as well as 17 25 Roosevelt Road. These businesses are consistent with an ordinance that was passed by the Village Board September 16th of 2024 as we continue to develop our Roosevelt Road corridor, as well as we're aware of the changing environment as it relates to businesses. We have businesses nowadays that can't afford Cook County taxes as well as the huge or large retail space. And so the future right now, and we've seen in other communities, Bellwood, Aurora, Naperville, Cicero, Berwyn, they're looking at doing business or commercial salon suites. So the Village of Broadview passed that ordinance to stay abreast of what's currently happening in the marketplace. So September 16th, 2024, ordinance CO 2024-13. This afternoon, I did receive an email from Trustee Armour, but she wasn't specific in the type of businesses. But outside of that, these are businesses that will be located in 2 locations. Some of them are consulting, some of them are actually hair, some of them are makeup, some of them are massage. I'll entertain any question at this time.
Thank you. Trustee Armour, you have any questions or comments?
Yes, I would like to have a conversation about all these. These are all sole proprietors, right?
No,
They're all sole proprietors?
they're not.
Okay. I would like to confer this question to the attorney. From what I saw in the documentation, they all look like they're sole proprietors. And if a sole proprietor, I understand from my business education that if a sole proprietor, if the business is not in the same name as the owner, the sole proprietor, that they are required to register with the state. And
Depending on the nature of the services.
I noticed that all of these proposed entities does not have a state's license. And so as I was going through the documentation, that was the only reason why I sent the inquiry to the commissioner, is because as a sole proprietor, if the business is not in the same name as the owner, the proposed business owner, then if it's in a different name, they are required to register with the state of Illinois. Am I understanding that correctly?
Well, in terms of, what I saw in looking at these applications too, is, a lot of these, I think all of them except for one, if I'm right, I'm looking at.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
I'm sorry. Looking at these, and I looked at the applications before, it's hard to tell in terms of how they're registered. So hairstylists, I think all of them except for one, if I'm correct, were hairstylists, is that correct? They all have to be licensed by the state. So if you mean registered with the state in that regard, they should be, were they all licensed hairstylists? Did you know about that?
So I did not verify whether they were all licensed by the state. What I did verify is did they have their tax information from the state and the federal government. So if she is speaking of a specific Illinois statute as it relates to sole proprietorship, I would appreciate if she could share that, or I can research that and make the business's approval contingent, if possible, by the board, once I verify that and submit that information.
Yeah, that would be great if you could actually verify that information, because on each application, Commissioner, the sole proprietor is checked off. And if you could check and get back to me, I would really love to be able to make a superseding motion to have these items postponed to our next meeting so that the commissioner and I can do some research and get back to the board.
Thank you, Trustee Armour. Trustee Shelby, you have any questions or
No
comments?
questions.
Trustee Chalmalave? Trustee Abraham?
I-
So I will say this, as it relates to sole proprietors who use their full legal names, and state registration may still be necessary depending on the nature of services provided. So if you read the documents of the application of each applicant that's applied for a business license, they tell you exactly the type of business that they are, whether it's cosmetology or different things that they do in health and beauty spa. It's clearly in Section 3 on each application. So it's important to note that the distinctions between selling goods and providing service does not automatically exempt service providers from registering their business if the business name does not match the owner's full legal name. So with that being said, I understand that trustee Armour would like to call for a superseding motion. I will ask the board to deny that and go right to a vote for the consent agenda.
So again, trustee Armour, if you wish at this time to make a superseding motion, go ahead and make the motion. Let's see if you get a second.
I would like to make a superseding motion to have these entities just postponed into our next meeting so that the commissioner and I can do some additional research on these entities, and I need a second.
Do we have a second? Okay, being that we don't have a second, again, we have on the table a motion to establish the consent agenda. It has been motioned by trustee Abraham, seconded by trustee Shelby. The discussion period is now over. Madam President, would you like a roll call on the consent agenda establishment?
Yes, Mr. Clerk.
Roll call, trustee Abraham.
Yes.
Trustee Chalmalave. Trustee Senior is absent. Trustee Shelby.
Yes.
Trustee Armour.
Abstain.
Trustee Miller is absent. Madam President, can I have your vote, please?
Yes.
And this carries 4-0 with one abstention. Next, all items have been read
Thank you,
into the
Mayor.
record.
Thank you, Board.
Next is item D, a motion to approve all items on the consent agenda as established.
I need a motion.
Motion
and a
to
second.
approve. All items on the consent agenda is established.
It's been properly motioned by trustee Shelby, seconded by trustee Abraham, to approve all items on the consent agenda as established. Madam President, further discussion?
No discussion. Roll call, please.
Roll call, trustee Abraham.
Yes.
Trustee Chalmalave. Trustee Senior is absent. Trustee Shelby.
Yes.
Trustee Armour.
Abstain.
Trustee Miller is absent. Madam President, can I have your vote, please?
Yes.
Thank you, and this carries 4-0. Next item, E. A motion to approve any items removed from the consent agenda if necessary. None are necessary, so this is stricken from the record. Can I have a motion to strike from the record?
A motion
Make
to,
a motion to strike item E.
Need a second? Thank you. It's been properly motioned by trustee Abraham, seconded by trustee Chalmalave to strike item E since it's not necessary from the record. All in favor say aye.
aye.
All opposed say nay. Hearing no opposition, this has been stricken from the record. On to item 11, Village Clerk Report. Happy New Year, everyone. I'm looking forward to having a very prosperous, safe, and year of growth in the Village of Broadview. And with that, I will end my report and move to item 12, Village President's Report. Mayor Katrina Thompson.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk, and good evening and Happy New Year, everyone. As we
Happy New
stepped into 2025, it's with a mix of emotions that I greet you. This year began on a somber note as we laid two of our beloved Lindop students to rest. My heartfelt condolences go out to their families and all who are grieving their loss. May they find strength and peace during this difficult time. As we move forward, I want to share a few updates and reminders to help us stay connected and engaged as a community. The meeting time change. Starting this year, our meeting times has shifted to 6:30 p.m. on the first and third Monday of the month. Please take note of this adjustment. Additionally, I encourage everyone to review our annual calendar as there are some months where we only meet once a month. Public Safety Town Hall Meeting. Public safety remains a top priority. In response to a resident's inquiry, I will host a Public Safety Town Hall Meeting on January 29th at 6 p.m. This will be an opportunity to hear updates from Police Chief Mills and Fire Chief Bryan to address community concerns and discuss emergency preparedness and collaboration initiatives to move Broadview forward. Election cycle. As we enter into another local election cycle, I encourage everyone to research the candidates thoroughly and ensure they are registered to vote. Clerk McGreer is available to assist with your voter registration and to ensure that every voice in our community is heard. Finally, let's make 2025 a year of love and kindness. Let's be committed to supporting one another, building stronger connections, and fostering a sense of unity in Broadview. Thank you for your continued engagement and dedication to our community. Together, we can achieve great things. Also want to let you all know later in the week we will be releasing opening for our zoning board. We had a zoning board member that resigned from the zoning board, and so we will put that out to get qualified candidates to serve on our zoning board, so be looking out for that through our email, and it will be posted on our website. And with that being said, I say good night and blessings to all. Mr. Clerk, I need a motion to adjourn.
It's been properly motioned by trustee Armour, seconded by trustee Abraham to adjourn this evening's meeting. All in favor say aye. All opposed say nay. Hearing no opposition, we are hereby adjourned at 7:04 p.m. Thank you for coming. God bless and good night.